Hello, everybody. It is summer. It's nice and hot. It's July, and it is steamy. So naturally, it is time for a wild and raucous haunted house experience in sunny Hollywood, California, North Hollywood to be more exact. Welcome to the Scare Guy Show, the official podcast of thescareguy.com. This is coming to you straight from the spooky heart of Hollywood, California. We are your home for news and discussions on horror films, haunted attractions, fan conventions, and just anything that's scary fun. And we kind of do it from a filmmaker's perspective. My name is Jim Fry, your co-host today, and I am joined by the ever lovely Carrie Lynn. Carrie, hello.
What's up? Happy to talk about haunt stuff. And I know it's July. It's not Christmas in July. It's haunt in July. Yes.
We are stoked about it. Specifically, Lights Out is an organization, and Edward Didion is here with us today. Edward, thank you.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Did I say your name right? I just want to make sure.
Yes, you perfectly got it right. Yeah.
For the record, I asked him before the show how to say it, but I'm just terrible with names. But Lights Out was founded in 2019. It's Lights Out Creative is the actual name. It's a small LA-based team of creative minds who share their passion of haunting and immersive entertainment. Their shows and events are curated to immerse patrons in a wide range of unique, experimental, and edgy storytelling, as it should be. In 2019, they produced the Scream Queens Tribute Experience and Midnight Experiment 1. Then in 2020, they created Offline, a virtual scare, and Totally Killer. And now with summer in full swing and people finally leaving their houses, they have created an all-new experience, Funhouse, a new walkthrough experience that will take guests through the dark and raunchy corridors of the Hall of Absurdities. Edward DeLeon, thank you for being here. You are the co-founder and artistic director of Lights Out, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right, well, let's just start by telling us about Lights Out. This is a new organization for me to hear about, and it sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I founded Lights Out with my partner back in 2019. We wanted to do something other than participate in different haunts. We've done 17th Door, Six Flags Fright Fest, Sinister Point. We acted in all those great companies, but we wanted to do something of our own. And finally, 2019 was the right year, and that's when we did the Scream Queens Tribute Experience at Midsummer Scream. And now we're here 2 years later doing Funhouse, which is our now full-fledged walkthrough experience.
Cool.
Nice. Now we're July, which feels like a really early time for haunt festivities, but I love it. We've just come off of Pride Month, so I noticed something with a lot of if you go on their Instagram account, you can see a lot of fun neon colors. So if you could talk about what's it like doing a haunted attraction in July, and about how this seems to have a bit more of a colorful aspect to it.
Yeah, so when we did Scream Queens, of course, Midsummer Scream is in the summer, and it's very popular with people doing Halloween in the summer. So we wanted to keep that aspect. We normally don't do any haunt events during the actual haunt season, just so we could keep that Halloween spirit alive. And with this show, we wanted to integrate our LGBTQ community, and we wanted to pay homage to it by fusing it with our haunt and horror community. So that's what we did for Funhouse, where it's going to be very colorful, very in your face, and yeah.
Nice.
Well, go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, I was going to also say, to note, I noticed this on it, and I'm very excited about the interactiveness of it. And this is to let people know, one, you need to be physically capable to crawl and walk in darkness. Talk about how this is definitely a immersive experience and how you let people know about that ahead of time.
Yeah, so we're going to require people to sign a waiver. That's always key, just in case something happens. But you described about the crawling and walking in pitch black. So there's going to be a certain scene where you have to crawl, just like a fun house. There's elements where you do stuff like if there was like a teeter-totter or something like that. We wanted to keep that fun house aspect for this show. And the immersiveness comes in when we have all our actors around you and we make you part of the scene as well. We invite you to become with the scene. So there's going to be some aspects of that. And then, of course, like I said, there's going to be moments of crawling or pitch black and possibly dead ends. So
I would also say on this too, another one to note for people, because I was like, I'm all game for it, but 18 and over as well.
Yes. Most of our shows are 18 plus just because we do touch upon like mature themes like sexual stuff. And yeah, that's why we want to keep it that same age range, because we don't want to offend anyone or do anything that seems really off for like younger audiences.
Let's go ahead and, okay, we're being nice here, but let's drop the niceness. It says it is a raunchy good time. Tell us a little bit. Come on, give us a taste for those who are kind of in for this. Give us a little bit of a taste of what are you talking about? What is this 18 and over stuff?
Yeah, so I don't want to give too much away.
Oh, don't give it away, but we're all adults here. We can take it.
Yeah, so there will be like I said, a crawling section. It's going to be very inappropriate because you're going through a certain body part of someone. Yeah. And there's also
maybe this. I don't know.
I don't know. But also there's going to be a scene with having to do with BDSM and dominants and submissives. That's part of the show. So, and there's another scene that I'm not going to get into details, but it's very graphic.
Okay.
Now, did you find it freeing or make it an easier thing for you if you go, all right, we're just going to do this as an 18 and over so that you don't need to worry about being too much of something?
Yes. We've learned that from our previous experience, especially with Scream Queens when we first started this whole entire haunt mess. We noticed that some things were
haunt mess. Is that what you called it?
Yeah, haunt mess. So we noticed that some people do get offended, especially with like bringing Scream Queens. If you've watched the TV show, it's very not catered to younger audiences. So we've had that instance where little kids were going in and I'm like, oh, this is scary. There's going to be offensive stuff. They're going to be asking questions. So we decided that 18 and over is like the right category for us.
You did Scream Queens at Midsummer Scream. Is it 2019?
Yes, 2019.
Can you describe it? Because I think I may have gone through it.
Yeah, so we took some scenes from the show, like the Blood Oath scene. And
I did it. Yes, that was great.
Yeah, and then also we integrated some pop scares. Like I said, it was our first show. It didn't go as planned because we had a lot of more elements attached to our show, but they decided not to work. So we did the best of it. But I'm glad you enjoyed it.
That was good.
Yeah.
And I love Midsummer Scream. I love that you talked about it because I know that they they had to postpone last year, but they're having a pop-up this year in Pasadena. I think it's in August, which is kind of a surprise. They're having the holiday scream. I wish I had that information in front of me. Season Screamings closer to the holidays. Well, to the Christmas holidays, but the Halloween, but the summer holidays, we have a new one. Are you guys going to be involved at all with the pop-up?
You'll just have to wait and see. Yeah.
Now we've talked a bit about the experience and your other experience. Now, some haunt attractions, when you're walking through, it's a bit more like you're walking past something. This sounds a bit more like it's an interactive theater experience a little bit. Can you talk about how it is as an experience and what made you choose that approach as a horror attraction?
So with the limited amount of space that we have, we didn't want it to just be a continuous flow. And you just get scare after scare. We thought that wouldn't work for this type of theater space. And we wanted to do something where we bring people into these scenes. That's why most of the scenes are going to be stop and go, because you're going to be interacting with the characters. They're going to be making you feel more involved. There's a moment where you're going to be looking through a peephole. And then once you get caught, the character invites you into that certain room that you were peeping in. That's what we wanted to do. We didn't want to just do a traditional haunted house where you're just walking through and then that's the end of it, you know?
So how long is the experience, and what can people expect when they show up? Is it going to be like?
So it's going to be a 15-minute experience.
Wow.
In a very small space. We try to make it work as much as possible. People are going to be stopping in one scene. Something's going to happen. Go to the next scene. There's going to be transitions in between some of the scenes where you're going to get your traditional pop-up scares. You're just going to keep walking through the whole entire 15 minutes.
Is there an overarching story or theme to this fun house?
No, not necessarily. We just wanted to make sure that we can represent our LGBTQ community in some sort of way. There's going to be elements where you recognize that our LGBTQ community celebrates, like ballroom. That's going to be very heavy within our show. And then, that's pretty much, that's all I'm going to say. But we just wanted to, like I said, we wanted to fuse that with our horror genre and try to mix that into this beautiful haunt.
Nice.
But I want to make sure, though, like, because you're emphasizing the LGBTQ, but this is for everybody. You want everybody to come. You're not specifically single. Yeah, right?
Yeah, we want everyone to come. Cool. It is a haunt. It is going to be scary. But we did want to celebrate our community because most of our cast is part of the community, and we wanted to do something in honor of all our fellow cast members and crew members.
Now, what's it like for the performers in terms of it's a 15-minute thing and they're going from how many performers are there? And it sounds like they're going to have a busy evening.
Yes, they're going to have a busy evening. Like every 15 minutes, they're going to be performing the same thing. We have a cast of 12 people. It sounds small, but because of the size of the experience and the amount of time that they're going to be there, it is going to be pretty big for them. They're going to have significant roles for the most part, exception of the pop-up scare actors. They're going to be more of like in and out versus like some of the other scenes.
Nice.
Now, go ahead, Jim.
No, you go ahead, Carrie.
So for the performers, if somebody is interested in being a scare actor for your company, what is the audition process like? How do they reach out to you to be part of something like this?
Yeah, so for each show, we do auditions. We always post them on our social media ahead of time. And then we also have a form that we release every single time prior to the audition date. And it tells them what the requirements we're looking for. Sometimes we give them the script in advance so they could rehearse ahead of time to see what they could possibly do. We ask them what they're comfortable with, because not everyone is comfortable with doing sexual themes or mature themes. Some are just normal scare actors that just want to pop out and scare people. So we make sure that we cater to every single person, as well as find the right person for each individual scene that we're looking for. And then also most of our cast gets retained from previous shows. So if we love them and we thought their performance was amazing, we invite them back and we're like, hey, we want you to be in this specific show because we think you're an amazing fit. So most of our cast has been with us since Scream Queens, actually. So that's amazing. And we give them other opportunities to grow within our little company. Some of them have written stuff like Offline, Totally Killer, and also this show. One of our actors, he really wanted to do something along the lines, like I said, for the Pride community, and we gave them the chance, and now we're here.
That's great. Hey, I've got to ask you, for those of you who, excuse me, are watching the video of this and not listening online, over your shoulder there, what is that behind you? I think it's your right shoulder. Is that your right shoulder? Yeah. Wait.
This one.
Yeah, both things on both sides.
Yeah.
So this, he is my favorite mannequin head. I've done a lot of things to him. He is basically my model. I just paint around him, and I use him to do other masks and props. So yeah, he's really very beaten up, as you can tell. And then right here is my favorite mask that we ever had. He has been with us since Midnight Experiment 1, and he's going to be in this show for a particular scene. He has been in the advertisements for this show. So you're going to be seeing this familiar face somewhere along the way.
So you guys, you fabricate and create your own costumes?
Yes, we have our very own costume designer, John. He's an amazing person. He's also the one of the creators of the show. So yeah, we do a lot of in-house stuff as much as possible, but there's obviously things where we physically can't do. So we just buy it offline, and then we try to give it our own twirl. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, Carrie, you have a long history in the haunt industry as well. And Carrie's been in costuming and certain haunts and stuff. And I just was wondering, like, here in Southern California and probably all everywhere, we have like this spectrum of haunt experiences. You know, there's the Halloween Horror Nights and then and the Knott's Berry Farms, but then you have your amateur home haunts, and then your kind of professional. I mean, where on the spectrum do you guys place yourselves? And like, do you have people that are coming from these different haunts?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. We don't really try to put ourselves in any spectrum, just because each of our shows are very, very different. Totally Killer was a scavenger hunt experience in all of Los Angeles. And then Midnight Experiment was an extreme haunt. Scream Queens was a more walkthrough experience. And then Offline was a virtual experience. With this show, it's an immersive walkthrough experience. Like I said, we don't really try to categorize ourselves. But if we were to, I would just say more of immersive theater in that sense. But again, it really depends on what kind of experience we're trying to deliver to our guests.
Nice. Speaking of delivering to the guests, when it is, we got July 16th to the 18th and 23rd to the 25th. When you're planning these events, so that's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when you're planning these, do you book it more based on the space? How much, like what factors into deciding how long your run is?
So for this particular show, we wanted to do it in a theater space. This is our first time renting out a theater space. So we wanted to give ourselves enough time where everyone could experience it as much as possible. So with these 2 weekends, we thought it was a perfect time to do so. But it really depends. And we think of these days months in advance. So we were already planning this show back in December, hoping the best. Obviously, COVID is the thing, and it's still a thing. So we were hoping for the best. We were actually supposed to do a show in this particular theater space back in March of last year. but we gave ourselves a month timeline to get everything done. We're like, it's not going to happen, and then COVID happened. So it was a sign that we needed more time to think about it. But for this particular show, it was about a 6-month process to think about our dates.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, now, why July? Tell me about that.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people are very interested in Halloween around this time. We've noticed that there has been a surge in like halfway to Halloween type events happening around the SoCal area.
I had a party.
Yeah, so we wanted to join that train. And like I said, we don't do experiences during the haunt season because there's so much to do already. Yeah. Like you can't even do everything all in 1 month. So
well, it sounds like you guys don't want to miss out on the haunt season. You want to be doing it.
Yeah, we don't want to miss out on the haunt season. But also,
it's like it's oversaturated. So then how do you stand out when there's so many going on?
Exactly. So we also work around our cast and crew schedules. Some of them do go back to their original haunts, like 17 Door. I came from 17 Door, so sometimes you'll see me there during the Halloween season. Some were in Dark Harbor, Not Scary Farm, Sinister Point. So we try to avoid Halloween at all costs, even though we're all about Halloween. So yeah. You'll normally see our shows happening in the summer.
Do you have any other shows? I mean, this one hasn't even started yet, but do you have any upcoming that you're already kind of thinking about?
Yeah. I don't want to spill the beans, but I'm going to. We are planning a end of summer show.
Good.
Yeah, we're already planning that, and then we officially have been planning our winter show at a particular location that I'm not going to say because we probably mentioned it before. So we're already planning multiple shows because of what happened last year. We had 3 shows planned for the entire year, and that took a turn. And we canceled all of those shows. We're like, we're not going to do them. We want to start fresh and try to see what else we could do. And now we're doing multiple shows for the rest of the year.
I love that. For those of you who are listening, you can rewind a little bit and connect the dots to what he's talking about for the winter, but we're not going to say it here and spoil it. But all I can say is I'm super excited about that. Hey, can I ask you, there seems to be, especially this last, I guess, 5 to 8-ish years that I've noticed. I love the haunt industry and a proliferation of different types of haunt experiences. There's, like you mentioned, the extreme, and then there's also the, I think remember the documentary, the haunt documentary that was on Netflix, and it kind of spotlighted McCamey Manor, which used to be the most extreme, and he had to leave town. And can you talk about like the growth of different types of haunts? Like you're doing an immersive theater haunt, which is something very cool. And I don't think I had experienced it before, like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah.
It makes me think about too, how, if anybody's gone to Sleep No More in New York City, because that's essentially immersive theater that's horror-esque. But that one is not as interactive. It's more you get to follow along. So it does seem to be an interesting trend of even just the theater world incorporating the immersiveness.
Yeah. For the past couple of years, I've noticed that immersive experiences in general are something people are dying to do. We see, what's it called? Creep LA. They're an amazing company that does amazing shows. And I feel like they're more of the starter of this whole entire immersive push. And then you see these extreme shows where people are dying to do all these extreme elements with the safety of this little spot. But I've noticed like the past couple of years that I guess we're more, I don't want to say I don't know what to say. There's a specific word. I guess we want more, basically. We just want more and less of what we have already experienced. Like, I've noticed that a lot of the haunts are becoming more like character oriented versus the traditional pop-up scares, because I feel like they're getting outdated, but we're always trying to find new ways to scare people and not make it mundane and boring, you know? I don't know.
I guess to follow up on that, because I know Carrie as well. Carrie has led a group of us to Not Scary Farm for a number of years, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite things. I love Queen Mary. I love Halloween Horror Nights is just at the top. But there's something about them, which, again, they're the best. They're great. But there's something about, like, you know, a line of 300 people walking through, you know, that's not quite as great as what you're describing as an immersive experience. And I think that's what it is. People are they're craving a little bit more haunts, a little bit more. They want to be scared. And I think that's what you guys are, that's the need you guys are filling.
Yeah, definitely. Especially, like I said, I love these Halloween Horror Nights, Not Scary Farm. I love going to them. But you get taken out of the experience once you're stopped in the middle of the maze. Like, you see a whole conga line of people, and then you see the scare ahead of you, and you're like, okay, well, that's there. It's not gonna. It doesn't feel right. You're not gonna get scared. With these immersive experiences, you're limiting yourself to a certain amount of people. So, like for us, we're doing 5 people per group.
Oh, so, cool. I was just gonna ask. I'm like, how many people? Okay. Now, are those? Could you do that as in like your own group, or would you then say, you know, would it be like in line somewhere else and be like, we have a group of two, single, okay, come on, or be like, how do you plan to do that?
So depending on the time slot, if you're the only one that books it, then
could you be by yourself?
You can if you want. If you book all 5 slots in that certain time, you could go by yourself. So that's how we're limiting the amount of people. And plus, with our show, you can't do a conga line of people. That's just impossible. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It sounds great. It just sounds great. And the one thing that I know that when Carrie and I are talking to people involved in the haunts, I just love to find out, like, when did you personally, because you sound like you're just a lifelong fan of the haunt experience. What's the haunt that started it for you? When did you become a fan of this?
Yeah, so my first ever haunt was back in 2007, Six Flags Fright Fest. That is one of the bigger events, and I fell in love with getting scared so much. And I believe it was back in 2011. One of my old friends, they wanted to do their own home haunt, and I was like, "Ooh, that would be fun to do, like to scare people." And that's where I got my little tick of the haunt industry, and it just kept going. I eventually went to work for Six Flags Fright Fest for a year. It was fun. Had a great time. Then did 17th Door, which is a totally different type of experience. I loved it. I've been doing it ever since they first opened, and now I'm here doing my own haunt, giving my own creativity to the world and sharing like other people's creativity that don't get the opportunity to create their own haunt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you one of the performers as well, or do you sit back and take a more directorial approach?
It depends on the show. Okay. It really depends on the show. I was one of the main performers for Totally Killer. I was the director for that. Well, the director character. And for this show, it's more of me being backstage, making sure that everything is working perfectly fine. So my head is not coming off at the end.
There's a lot to take care of. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
We are kind of bumping up towards the end here. So Carrie, if you have any other questions, I would love to hear them.
I think we've kind of covered anything. Is there anything else you would tell people to convince them to come of like, I feel you've covered a bunch of things that would make anybody who's excited about these events to come check it out. But maybe those people that are maybe a little on the fence.
Yeah, I would say that just come experience our event. Just because it's different than any other event. Just because we're not pushing people to their limits, and it's a fusion of everything that we've experienced and have done. So there's a lot of elements where there's pop scares, there's elements of you interacting with the characters or you being part of the scene, but you're sort of in the back. So there's a little bit of everything in this show. And I highly recommend it if you are trying to dive yourself into this type of industry, because it's a different monster compared to Halloween Horror Nights or 17th Door. So if you're trying to get a taste of both, I recommend doing it.
A different monster. How great.
I'm like, yeah. So again, the dates are July 16th to the 18th. So these are Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and 23rd to the 25th. I mean, when people go online, they'll see the time slots, but what is the time frame of that evening of what's the earliest and what's the latest?
So for our, I would say Friday, Saturday shows, they're more from 6:30 to 12 o'clock at night. Our Sunday show is a little bit shorter, from 7 to 11. So if you can try to fit your availability to come to this show, I highly recommend doing so.
Nice.
And last question, and we'll put a link on the site. Where do they get the tickets, and where is this? And where are you guys located?
Yeah, so for this specific show, we are located at ZJU. They do Zombie Joe's Underground Theater. So we're located there for this show.
And that's in North Hollywood, right?
North Hollywood, of course. We have the address on our website and our ticket. And then you could get tickets on our website, lightsouthaunt.com. You can follow us on social media at lightsouthaunt on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So you can find us everywhere.
All right. And Carrie, where can people find you if they want to find out what you're up to?
Yes, there we go. It's over on this side. Yep. Y'all can find me online at Carrie D Lane. That's KARIDLANE.
All right. And you can find me at James D. Fry on Instagram, although my Instagram's going crazy today, so hopefully I can get it back. But follow us at, it says theconguy.com on my title there, but thescareguy.com. We are the scarier side of the Con Guy. And guys, thank you for joining us today. Edward, thank you for coming on with us. Carrie, thank you for setting this up. And everybody, make sure if you get a chance, go check out Funhouse. It's coming up this July. It's going to be a lot of fun. Bye-bye, folks.